Just ahead on CTV News tonight, county police make a huge drug bust. Plus, a county council member calls out a fast food restaurant.
We got complaints that we're now looking into at multiple other locations, like in Berwyn Heights, in Beltsville. We've got a complaint about the Wawa and Ritchie Station charging 30 cents.
And a local well-known high school football coach steps down.
As I started doing research, just like some of the coaches would tell me, I saw all the different players that was coming out of Marlboro. So I knew, all right, if I focus in, get the right staff, that we could turn things into something.
Those stories and more next.
Good evening. This is CTV News for Wednesday, January 24th. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Taylor Thomas. Prince George's County Police swooped down on the apartment in Riverdale and recovered nearly 14,000 fentanyl pills, cocaine, and firearms. 9
men, all in their 20s and 30s, were arrested in connection with the seizure. These are the drugs and weapons confiscated by police during the January 18th search warrant. And these are the 9 suspects nabbed by police in the 5400 block of Hamilton Street.
Each of the suspects faces numerous charges, including drug trafficking and firearm offenses. Police say fentanyl is a big issue in the county.
I would like to also add that in the past month, Prince George's County Police Department has recovered approximately 17,000 fentanyl pills from our streets. Fentanyl is killing far too many Americans, and we are determined to arrest those who bring fentanyl into our community. This is the opportunity to educate our children, our teens, our preteens on what fentanyl is and the danger that it brings. In order for that to be effective, these conversations have to start at those teenage years.
Anyone who may have information on the case is asked to call 301-517-2900. Well, Maryland Republicans want to repeal a controversial new law that prohibits police from pulling over and searching drivers simply because they smell marijuana. Democrats say they may tweak the cannabis odor law, but have no plans to overturn it. The measure was passed last year to prevent unwarranted search and seizure against people of color.
If I see a subject driving down the road and they're drinking a beer, I can stop that person. If I see that same person smoking a joint, I can't stop that person solely off of that because I would be questioned whether or not I knew definitively that that was marijuana they were smoking. And so driving under the impairment is an issue. They passed this legislation without having a measurable standard. There's no measurable standard in the state of Maryland or anywhere for that matter that says, you have X number of nanograms of THC in your body that makes you impaired. There's no measurable standard. So this was a rush to put through in the 11th hour of the legislative session last year, and it put citizens at risk unnecessarily.
And several states have legalized cannabis, have similar laws preventing police searches based on the odor of marijuana.
New data shows that Maryland's unemployment rate increased slightly last month. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, Maryland's unemployment rate went up by 1.9%, which is about 3,000 jobs lost in December. Some job sectors that lost employers include trade, transportation and utility, leisure and hospitality, among others. The state still has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country.
A Senate committee in Annapolis compares long-term crime statistics in Maryland to national numbers. Violent crime in the state dipped 16% between 2012 and 2022, compared with a national average of 2%. More specifically, aggravated assault in Maryland was down 11%, robbery by 34%. However, rape in Maryland increased by 46% and homicides by 35%. Those figures are slightly better than the national average. Officials say during that same 10-year span, more Marylanders died from alcohol and drugs than homicides.
Well, we now know the name of the pedestrian that was fatally struck and hit during a hit-and-run crash earlier this month. The victim has been identified as 56-year-old William Wayland. Officers were called to the 4500 block of St. Barnabas Road on January 13th, just before 12 a.m. The investigation revealed that a driver was traveling southbound on St. Barnabas Road when the vehicle hit Wayland. The driver did not remain on the scene.
A fast food restaurant is receiving backlash for charging customers for paper bags at its drive-thru. According to reports, a McDonald's in the 1400 block of Addison Road has been charging 10 cents for paper bags to drive-thru customers. The county's new Better Bag bill, which went into effect on January 1st, prohibits this. But county officials say under that same law, walk-in customers can be charged 10 cents for a paper bag. Councilmember Crystal Oriatha, who did not vote for the measure, says her office has received complaints about similar incidents happening at other fast food restaurants and at a gas station in her district.
There's a few things, that we can do as a council. So it all depends on my colleagues and what they're willing to do. One could be a complete repeal of the charge, right? So we could say we'll ban plastic bags, but we won't charge any minimum charge for paper bags. You could look at focusing on the type of plastic bags that can be offered and go with biodegradable plastic bags and that are better for the environment. We could look at moving the fee to be actually received by the county government instead of received by the actual establishments. So when you do something like that, it takes out the incentive to raise the prices.
And the Better Bag bill prohibits the use of plastic bags at retail shops, restaurants, as well as grocery stores, and charges 10 cents for each paper bag used. Well, gone are the days where you waited in long lines for tickets to an event or concert or bought one from a scalper outside. Technology has allowed us to do it all online from home. But with that technology comes a downfall for consumers. Many third-party sellers are buying up all those tickets. Maryland legislative leaders say that's why they're introducing a package of bills to strengthen the state's consumer protection laws.
The problem with that technology is also allowed individuals to buy those tickets up first. And so many people know as soon as you log on, there are no tickets left. And these tickets are marked up by third-party retailers and sellers. They use bots to go ahead and buy these tickets up. They create the demand, and then it goes to the highest bidder.
Enter SB 539 along with its House cross-file, which seeks to rectify these problems by mandating that platforms disclose the full ticket price and provide an itemized breakdown of fees at each transaction step. The bill also aims to ban the sale of speculative tickets and eliminate the incentive for scalping by capping resellers' prices at the full purchase price plus processing fees.
Other bills included in the package deal with online data privacy, energy retail protections, and the Maryland Kids Code, which we reported on yesterday.
Two Landover Hill brothers were indicted for an alleged lottery scheme, stealing more than $3.5 million. From October of 2020 to December of last year, Dwayne and Wayne Henry, along with their associates, contacted victims over the phone or by mail, telling them they won the lottery but needed to send a deposit for taxes and fees in order to receive it. A federal grand jury returned the superseding indictment that charges the brothers with conspiracy to commit mail fraud, among other charges. If convicted, they face up to 20 years in federal prison. You're watching CTV News. I'm Taylor Thomas.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. After the break,
we have our Pet of the Week. You don't want to miss out. Back in a moment.
Welcome back. Well, Governor Westmore joins 9 other Democratic governors asking President Biden and congressional leaders to help deal with the influx of asylum seekers. In a letter to the president, the governors request $4.4 billion to create a federal strategic plan and $1.4 billion to help state and local governments deal with the overwhelming number of new residents. Some GOP leaders say they want changes to the country's immigration policy to reflect changes at the southern border. They're threatening to hold out voting on the president's aid request for conflict abroad until the issue with the U.S. border is resolved.
One person is dead after a series of crashes along US 50 in the county last night. Maryland state troopers responded to a multi-vehicle crash on 495 southbound just before midnight. According to Maryland State Police, a sedan and minivan got into an accident. A third car then pulled up to help along, and shortly after that, a tractor-trailer hit the sedan, which then struck the driver of the third vehicle. He was pronounced dead at the scene, and the driver of the sedan was treated at an area hospital.
On Monday, the State Highway Administration kicks off a major road project on Maryland Route 5. The $3 million safety and resurfacing work is expected to improve the roadway for pedestrians and motorists from Branch Avenue to Curtis Drive in Suitland. The improvements include resurfacing the ramps from Maryland 5 to Maryland 414. They will also install new road signage and replace sidewalk and curb inlets. Now, motorists are advised to reduce their speed in the area and be patient. The project along the 2.5-mile stretch should be complete by 2025.
A community meeting is scheduled for tonight to discuss concerns about staffing changes at the Beltsville Volunteer Fire Department. County Council member Tom Dornoga is hosting the session. There has been some concern recently about the declining number of firefighters. In addition to the public, Dornoga has invited members of the 21st District State Delegation and County Fire Chief Tiffany Green. The meeting is tonight at 7 o'clock at the Beltsville Volunteer Fire Department at 4911 Prince George's Avenue in Beltsville.
The County Council's General Assembly Committee gives its support to a state bill that would give renters more rights. The legislation, sponsored by Delegate Janelle Wilkins, would require landlords to present justification when denying a tenant the right to renew their lease. As the law stands now, landlords can deny a tenant from renewing their lease without reason, as long as the tenant is given 60 days notice. The Just Cause eviction motion received unanimous approval. And now Simon Buggs is joining us for a preview of the Friday Sports Page.
So Simon, I heard there's a big change at Wise. What's going on?
That's right, guys. Hey, everybody. I was able to land an exclusive interview with former Wise football coach DeLon Paris to talk to him about his tenure with the Pumas. Stay tuned on what the coaching legend had to say.
I spent a couple of minutes online to help pay for college.
A quick visit online made getting this federal job possible.
I logged in to ease my path to citizenship.
If you're an 18-year-old man, go to sss.gov to register with the Selective Service System. It's your civic duty, and it helps secure access to lifelong benefits.
I went to sss.gov because, hey, it's what you do.
Go to sss.gov and register today. It's the law.
It's Wednesday, and that means it's time for Pet of the Week. This week, we're meeting 7-year-old Beagle Mila. The shelter has...
The week's name is Mila, and Miss Mila here has been with us since like around October, so we have built a really good rapport. She would do great in an apartment setting or in a townhome setting. Pretty much any type of setting. She is very friendly, so she would probably do well with kids.
The shelter has a policy for any dogs over the age of 7. The adoption fee is waived, so if you want to adopt Mila, she'll be free along with any of her other senior furry friends. For more information, you can call the animal shelter at 301-780-7200.
Okay, sports fans, it's time for your Wednesday sports page. Coach DeLon Parrish made the shocking announcement recently that he has resigned from his position as the head coach of the Pumas. I had the chance to speak to Parrish about his time at Wise and what led him to making that decision. After winning 11 county championships, 10 region championships, and 6 state titles, DeLon Parrish shocked the sports world by resigning as the head coach of the Wise High School football team. Parrish had been at the helm of the team since 2006 when the school opened. CTV Sports caught up with Parrish at his home and talked to him about his legendary coaching career. Parrish was previously the head coach at Duval before taking the job at Wise and wasn't very successful with the Tigers. But despite the poor coaching record, a friend of Parrish still believed he was the right guy to lead the Pumas.
O'Shea Watson, the former, I believe he was the head of middle schools and for PG County, but at the time he was the AD at Parkdale. And then he he was moving to Wise, and he gave me a call and told me I would be good for that position. And I was kind of like going through my doubt, right? I'm coming off 2-8 season. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he pointed out things that he heard from coaches inside the county that I didn't even know was speaking highly of me.
And Parrish's ability to lead players and get the most out of them paid off as the team won their first title in 2012, as well as 3 more between 2015 and 2018. And the Howard County native gave credit to the players and parents for the beginning of the Pumas dynasty.
I remember one of the parents, even back then, went on vacation, but we were starting, and they allowed their son, because he was working, to stay with me and my family. So some of my early players staying over the house. We'd go, Prince George's County have abundance of football fields. This is summertime. We'd go out there. It was like a private training session, right, with the young men that had a weight room. They would lift at the school, come to my house, lift in the basement. It was a beautiful thing to behold between the players, the coaches, the parents, and the community in general.
Coaching can take up a lot of time, and one scary incident involving his family caused him to make the decision to step away from the game.
I knew this was going to be my last season in the summertime. I wasn't 100% sure until we had an incident where a young man was running around with a gun, and they ran by my children and my wife at the game. So at that point in time, and they couldn't get in touch with me. And that probably was since COVID, that probably was like only the second game that it came to because of all the different issues going on in the county. And I said to myself, that's it, right? That put things in perspective for me. When nothing happened to that young man, no one knows what happened. And I'm already sacrificing time so much. So I told myself, I got to step back and figure out a situation that allows me to embrace and involve my family. Instead of me involving my family in what I do, being around it so I can get home and help them do what they do.
Congratulations, Coach Parrish, on an outstanding coaching career.
You know, Simon, this is a big loss, but I really do understand where he's coming from.
Absolutely, Taylor. To witness that, for his family to witness that incident, a gunman ran by them. It's very, obviously very dangerous for them, and it kind of puts things into perspective about how he can't always be there for his family. So him wanting to take a step back and be able to spend more time with his family and protect them, I definitely understood where he was coming from in making that decision. It was a hard one, but I understood it at the same time.
So how are the students, the players, all reacting to him leaving?
They were very upset. A player of his, DeCarlos Young, I think he was a linebacker, he talked about how much of a blessing it was to play for him and how he really made an impact off the field as well, helping lead these guys and establishing a culture. So it was he definitely impacted on and off the field.
All right, thanks, Simon.
All right, that wraps up our CTV News Update. I'm Taylor Thomas.
And I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Simon Bugs.
Join us again tomorrow for the best news in the area.
And have a great evening.
Good night.